Okay guys, so welcome again to ICS Land. So this is a new series of video which I'm going to call ICS Land version 1.2, and this set of videos is again aimed at instructors, or we call them sometimes facilitators, masters of the games. So you should have seen already, let me pop up the screen here, the other ICS Land videos which I've made available. So in this list here, you see the original 4 videos I recorded. Once I'm done with this series of video, you're going to see them being named ICS Land version 1.2, and there will be a title. So this introduction video is really about what I've done with this version, which is develop a set of tools for instructors. So it's easier for anybody that's going to drive during ICS night a game to drive the students through the scenarios. So let's have a quick look at what is different, and further videos I will go into the details of the scenarios. So the first thing is there is now an overview. So an overview is in a form of a slide deck, which you should have received through either on a paper note or on a PDF. So I'm not going to explain everything here. I just want to walk you through what's inside this slide deck. So you have 2 slides. This is called the Scenario 2 Overview Facilitator. So you have the agenda of the night, where I explain the different phases. So usually I do an introduction of the game. We form the tables. We get each table to name an incident commander. We get the incident commander on the podium. We brief them. We give them an incident packet, and they go back to their table. They start the game. We end the game at some point, and we get a couple of ICs to come to the podium and to present or basically do the transfer of command. So you have a summary of the agenda over here on this slide. In the middle is a summary of the story, and it's not very complicated what's in scenario 1. If you worked with me on that game you've seen several times, I explain it. What you basically have to do is get the team set up on the table, make sure they're organized, make sure the roles are distributed, make sure they all have their forms. Then you kick up the game. They should have, been briefed on the incident, which in the case of scenario 2 is an earthquake. So they should have defined their objective and their plan. And once they have all that, when you're sure they have all that, well, you drop the first card, and the first things to do in the incident plan, in the incident action plan, is actually to do a quick hazard survey. The quick hazard survey will return one thing, which is a down power line. Once this is processed, documented, and everything, the team should do a neighbor damage assessment. And the neighbor damage assessment is going to return 3 things: gas leak, some people yelling at a specific address, and some people trapped at another address. So 3 other incidents to address and to take action from the team, and again to document. That's the core main scenario, and we will see when we look at the scenario more in details that there are also curveballs, so you can drop some extra things for the teams that progress well. This section here on the right is also interesting. It gives a summary of the artifacts. So we will see that I've changed the cards on scenario 2 to make them much more easy to use. So each card, there's obviously in the middle description. By the way, you can have the cards are example of a card here, and we will look at that into a further video. So the card has on the top here a name and a code, and if you have things to drop together with the card, such as an envelope with resources or a form, it will be indicated into this little box on the card again. So that's easier to use. So there are envelopes as well. A field action card, we'll talk about it later on. This is really a key part of the board game. The board game, again, is really focused on teaching students how to operate the command post. So what you do when you're in the command post, you basically assemble a team, say, okay, I'm going to send a team to do a quick hazard survey. I need 4 people. I need to know who are those 4 people. Maybe I need a set of code and a caution tape, and I'm going to put that all together and send that into the field. So that's all you do in the game, and you use this field action card, which will be written quick hazard survey. You'll put 4 people there, you'll put some supplies, and you put the card on the field action. Once you've done that, the facilitator will actually take an action, probably take this card, put the return result, and return that back. So we really focus again on launching actions, and then when the team comes back with some information, processing the action and what we do. So that's the high-level overview. Now the second slide I'm not going to go through, but that's really a high-level overview of the scenario 2 here. So you see that, as I said, there are three phases. The first one is really getting ready and set up, getting the main resources and starting the game. And at the end, preparing the transfer of command. Now, when the game starts, which is step 4 here, the main game, you have quick hazard survey returns, execute neighbor assessment, the three things that the neighbor damage assessment returns, which are indicated here, the gas leak, the yielding, the trapped, and you have indication with the bullet points here on the different action you can take. So we would expect all team to cover the setup, the resources, the getting started, and the main game. And on the bottom side of the slide, you have all the extras. So you can, during the course of the game, if the team is performing well, saying, oh, there's an aftershock, and see what they're going to do. Oh, there's a heat wave. Oh, there is a recall. Some of the volunteer needs to come back. So you can basically make the game a little more fun if the team is performing well by adding more things to process. So those two slides are actually aimed for the facilitators. So take an attention of that, pay attention on these, and learn them very well. Now, the major innovation on scenario 2, version 1.2 of the game is also the fact that there is a scorecard. So the way we're going to run the game as facilitators is there obviously going to be the table with the students, and we're going to have two facilitators, a lead and a scribe or an assistant if you want. The lead is really going to use that scorecard here, and if you look carefully, you'll see that the scorecard actually maps the game description. So those two, if you want, pieces of content here are very similar. The setup and the game, which is called the basics, the main game, and the extras. So this tool is really during execution of the game for the lead facilitator to actually track what the teams are doing and to make sure they do the right thing. So every time the team has done something, you will tick a box. So for instance, assuming the team is already ready and set up, you're going to start dropping the first card and the first envelope with resources. So you go here and you tick the box. And then you will see that, what are they doing with the resources? Are they sending the people to logistic? Are people being checked in? Are the equipment and supplies being checked in as well? And once they've done that, you keep the box here. So that not only gives the facilitator of the game the ability to organize and orchestrate more easily as the game goes, but as you tick the boxes, you also show that the team has performed something. So ultimately, we can actually use this scorecard to rank the team and to basically give them a score at the end of the game. So that's again the major innovation of this iteration of the game. So these are tools that the facilitators are going to be using. So in terms of the scenario itself, I'm going to be covering that into a further video where we can show you the new cards, the envelopes, and the forms, so you really understand very well the scenario. So thanks for your attention, and I see you soon on the next videos that will be available soon.